Hey everyone, this is Sean Butner, Certified High Performance Coach, and welcome to today's video. This is the 5th video in my High Performance series, and so I just wanted to do this live video for you. I just want to let you know, since this is live, you might notice I'm talking a little bit weird, but I had some dental work done. You might notice that I'm missing a tooth on the bottom there. I'm still working through that, but it's causing me to talk a little funny and look a little bit funnier than normal. So just wanted to get that out of the way. So thank you for bearing with me with that as that continues to move forward. Anyways, okay, so the last time we talked about productivity, and in this video I want to talk about influence and relationship building because it's one of the most important things that we do in our lives as a human being, right? And if you want to be a better human being and get more done, to feel a little more connected with it, it all comes down to how much influence do you have in your life with the people around you, right? So the one thing that's really stuck with me over my 10 years in the tech industry, doing software in corporate America, and some of the biggest corporations ever, Walmart and Apple, respectively, when they were the biggest company in the world, while I was there. It was pretty cool. It's this idea that, one, everything's about people. Technology is definitely about people. But more importantly, people don't remember what you say, and they don't necessarily remember what you do, but they do remember how you made them feel. So when you think about that, how did the most important people in your life make you feel? That's kind of where I wanted to go with this. And I'm looking in the monitor right now, and I know this is live, but I'm definitely noticing the dental work thing. It's kind of tripping me up. So sorry about that again. If I'm noticing it, I'm sure you do. I probably should not be calling as much attention to it, but okay, that's me. Anyways, so who in your life was really influential, and I would bet you a bunch of money, whatever a bunch is, that they made you feel really good about yourself after interacting with them. And so this kind of a core tenet has been how I've built relationships in the business world, and something I've always kind of been attracted to in my personal life. So maybe you've had an instance where you've had a coworker that's kind of a jerk, that's only out to help themselves and not anyone else. They're pushing people down. When you work with them, you tend to get frustrated and angry. You probably don't like working with them at all, right? So that's, one type of interaction. Or another one is the manager that's pushed you to follow your dreams, to help you improve, help you get to your next level. And, sometimes coaches fall into this type of relationship. Sometimes it's a mentorship. Sometimes it's just a close friend or family member. So whoever that is, you feel better, and as a consequence, when they give you advice, and really it's not to tell you what to do, it's to point to a couple of different types of perspective, a way of looking at things, a way of maybe approaching things, they hold a lot of influence with you. And that ability to get people to listen and to get people on board with the mission, to help kind of create those win-win situations on teams or in a family or with a friendship, is really what separates people that are performing at the top level versus people that are not. So influence and relationship building is super, super important. So maybe you've dealt with someone, or you're dealing with someone right now that is kind of a poop head, official term, or someone that's a jerk that you have to deal with day to day. Or maybe you work with some amazing people that inspire you every day to do your best and to be that better human being. So in either case, being active in building your relationships and build influence is essential. So it's not like the one thing you do at that meeting that you've set up. It's not that one thing you do when you're thinking about you have a big board meeting and you're just going to go to the board meeting. It's not that one time you're trying to get your kid to pick up the trash. It's something that's ongoing. It's something that's consistent, and it's something that you have to invest time in order to build effectively. So what I got for you guys today is just 5 of my favorite relationship building strategies. Some taken from my coaching, some taken from like Dale Carnegie and books that I've read over the years that I've used to great success in a lot of my interactions in corporate America. So without further ado, the first thing to do to help build a better relationship is to inspire people, right? And my favorite way to do this is when you go to a meal, so the dinner table, you're going to lunch with some friends, you're having dinner with your family, maybe your mom or dad or your kids or your spouse, spend some time just figuring out what they want and encouraging them to go follow that, whether that it's maybe they want to be an astronaut. You have a kid that wants to be an astronaut, encourage them to study rocket science and study what it is to be a pilot, and, encourage in those interests. And that's the goal. It's just encourage and point out, hey, if you really love astronauts and you're thinking about it, take a look at any book by, about Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin or any of those folks, and just cultivate with the aim to listen and inspire. And it's a really profound effect that happens when you have those type of conversations, especially if people aren't used to it. It kind of might take them a little bit to warm up to it, but people get excited and jazzed. And feel free to share what inspires you or what inspired you that day. And that's all you have to do is sit at a table with a human being and talk to them about stuff that they're interested in. It's super cool. Which leads me to my second point, which is to just connect. And I think I got this from Dale Carnegie, but he says, in a business setting, if you go to somebody's desk or go to somebody's personal space and you see the baseball trophy or you see the art done by kids, that's an invitation to ask about it, to get to know someone a little bit more, so you can find things that you connect on. So typically if I see people that have something to do with music in their office or in their home or whatever, I'll ask about it. And I'm a musician, I played guitar, singing and stuff, so we can connect on that type of thing. And it can take a very mundane, hey, I need you to do this admin thing, to, hey, have you checked out this new album? Oh, you like this artist? They're coming into town. Have you heard about it? Cool. Hey, I have you. I have to get this figured out. Could you help me real quick? And so it's just that little extra personal touch and recognizing someone else's humanity and then trying to reach out and connect with it that can make all the difference in building relationships. So the third thing to do, and I kind of alluded to this before too, is to share, right? And what do you need to share? You need to share what you're going after, what your dreams are, what you're thinking. You share your ideas, all that kind of stuff, because when you're able to share, it encourages other people to share, as long as you're not stomping on them, right? And giving them space to kind of respond or to be active in it. Nobody really likes I'm trying to conquer the world, but no, I don't want to hear about you, blah, blah, blah. You want to have a discussion, and that's implied, but I wanted to call that out. Sometimes people don't realize that. So, so think about what values could you share with your friends and family or teammate, or what are you going after that you could use a little bit more help that you could share? Because, this is really kind of crazy. When I was at Walmart, I started training for marathons. And at first, I'd go and run at lunch, and a bunch of my teammates would make fun of me. And I get made fun of a lot, so it didn't really faze me. But it was interesting. After a couple of months, they started running with me. And, they were inspired. And I would talk about, hey, I can't eat that because I'm training for a marathon and I want to make sure that I can run later. Or, hey, I would love to go out for drinks, but I have a long run planned for that. I can't do that. I'm skipping my lunch run to go do the longer run after work or whatever. And it gets people excited and, again, connects with them. And then I had built a hobby with a bunch of my coworkers that we all enjoyed and shared, so that was super cool. So that is the power of sharing and being a little bit vulnerable. Sometimes it could be scary to share, especially with teammates, but totally worth it. Okay, the fourth thing to do is to ask questions about the other person. So if you may know this kind of person at the office, but someone that only talks about their interests, only talks about what's going on with them, and never reciprocates. This is one of my pet peeves that it bugs the crap out of me when people can say, "Oh yeah, I did this," or I did this big race over the weekend. I race all the time. It was really good. They go on and on and on. And, they spend 15 minutes talking about what they did, and then they're like, okay, cool, well, I'll see you later. It's like, come on, man. I didn't show up here just to hear about you. I was hoping to, engage in a conversation about something. So, it's a balance in everything. You don't want to be talking too much. You don't want the other person to be talking too much. Hopefully they're keyed on, and if you get that, you can try to help guide them on, especially if the relationship is important to you. So that's a key distinction for you. Okay, so ask people about, again, like what they want out of life, kind of, what their values are. Ask people for opinions. This is one of the things that Ben Franklin did to much success, where he knew that if he needed to influence somebody, the best thing for him to do starting out was to ask that person for a favor, because if you ask them for a favor and they helped you, psychologically they're like, oh, I like this person enough to help them. And he was able to turn some of his enemies to his side, according to his biography. His biography, not his autobiography. So, super cool, super powerful technique to get you. Just ask people to help, ask people about themselves. That's awesome. Okay, the fifth thing to do is to know what people's struggles are. So if you're leading a project and you know what all the stakeholders are struggling with in their job, it's like, hey, I don't have enough time. Hey, I don't feel comfortable with this topic or whatever. It can help you craft your messages to them to get them to see the vision. It's like, hey, if you do this project, it'll free up a bunch of time, or, you need this amount of time commitment, but, I know that you're all busy. You can acknowledge, the human thing and be like, when we get this implemented, it's going to save you a bunch of time. Or, hey, we're going to learn a lot about this type or this part of the business as we move through it. So I know some of you are struggling with, how we do our sales process, but you're going to figure it out, by doing this, this project. So you can kind of craft those messages too. So super, super powerful to know people's struggles, know what's holding people up, what's preventing people from taking action. So when you have that meeting or you have that discussion with the person, you can bring those up ahead of time and work on it together. And bonus points if you're like, hey, I think we can help you by doing this. What do you think? And you make it a collaboration. Like, people get totally on board with that, especially if they're able to act on it and it really does help them, right? If you're going to be fake here, like, this is one reason or one way you can really lose influence if you're not sincere in any of these. And, because people pick up when you're like, oh, you're doing this to manipulate me versus you're trying to help me or help the team or help the organization or help the community or help the family or any of that. So, okay, those are my 5 favorite strategies to help build influence and relationships with people. Super important. Thanks for bearing with me on this live video with the dental work in process. Hopefully, everything will get fixed next week after I had a bone graft, so it's going to take a little bit of time to heal before we can address it. But next week I have some dentist appointments to take care of that. So anyways, go out there, build influence, build your high performance. I hope you've enjoyed this training series. We'll go into some other topic next week, but I wanted to get this guy up for you guys today. Go forth and tell me what you think about these. Tell me about your favorite things to do when you're building relationships that work really well. I'm always up to hear what you guys are thinking, what you guys are doing, how you guys are rocking it out in the real world. So with that said, thank you guys, and I'll catch you later. Take care.